Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now joining us is founder and chairman of Iris House Children's Hospice, South Africa's first and only hospice dedicated to children with life-limiting and life-threatening conditions, Sue from Linde, as well as a family member who benefits directly from the services that Iris House offers, Sheila Belcher. Ladies, welcome to the loft.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, what is the difference between an adult hospice and a children's hospice?
Okay, it's a very good question. It's one we get asked quite a lot.
Yeah.
When people think of hospice, the first thing that springs to mind is end-of-life situations.
Right.
Children's hospice couldn't be further from that. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
We call ourselves a living hospice. We're based on the same model which is followed in the UK and the USA.
Okay.
And basically our journey with a child is a lot longer and a lot more varied than adult hospice would be. We have the utmost respect for all the adult hospice, but a special needs children's hospice is a far longer, more involved journey. It involves the whole family, it's holistic care, involves siblings, and it involves anything to improve that child's quality of life on that journey.
Right.
So quite a bit of difference. And obviously being child-focused, we have to make sure their surroundings and our surroundings at hospice is child-focused as well.
Now you also run a home-based care training program. What does that involve?
Basically what we've done is we looked around the Western Cape at home-based care as a first option to reach families. We have care teams within various areas, Mufuleni, Khayelitsha, Friedenberg, etc. Our training program establishes our carers as persons who are able to cope with a special needs child whilst the parent is not there. So everything from tracheostomies to gastrostomies to play therapy and little bits of massage and speech therapy. We don't claim to be experts in any of the fields, but my carers are exceptionally well trained in dealing with the child and their condition.
And they love what they do,
They
of course.
adore what they do.
Tell us about Cuppa4Care. What is it and how did it start?
Okay, well, the lady to my right is really the source of Cuppa4Care.
Okay.
Sheila started it a few years ago, raising funds for her own son, who is an Iris House child. And Sheila and I got together and we decided to give it a name, and the name came out, Cuppa4Care. And 2 years ago, we ran it as a project. Sheila headed it up. It did amazingly well, and it's just sort of grown from there. And pretty much what it is anybody, anywhere, can host a Cuppa4Care. It can be, if it's a bunch of guys, they can have boerewors rolls instead of tea and cake if they feel like it.
Or have it as a birthday party idea instead.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, people can bring cake in, bring tea in, you can host it yourself, up to you. And then the funds raised from that, every hostess is registered, and they get a specific number from Iris House, and then those funds come back to us and we use them to continue our community and hospice-based service.
Sheila, how have you benefited from the services of Cuppa4Care?
When you have a special needs child, to find a caregiver who knows what they're doing is extremely difficult.
I can imagine.
And we're very fortunate that I have a medical aid, so there's a very small portion on the medical aid where you can get some nursing care. And no disrespect to those carers, but they're not trained. So when they arrive, you basically need to take another day's leave to show them what to do with your special child. The Iris House ladies know, or ladies and gentlemen, know exactly what they're doing because they've been trained, because your child has been assessed properly and professionally before any carer gets anywhere near them. And then they look at the family as a whole, which is so important, because when you have a special needs child, it's not just the child that has special needs, it's the whole family.
It's the whole family.
It's the siblings who obviously have their issues with having a sibling with special needs, because, shame, they are sometimes ignored, or they're not getting the attention they deserve. Husbands and wives feel ignored because mummy's continuously busy feeding or changing bottoms or doing something with the special needs child.
That each person is having.
Yes, and I think what is absolutely wonderful to be on this show for me today is to tell people out there, because I wasn't always a special needs parent. I didn't know what it entails, and I'd like to tell the viewers, just look and just listen, because you could land up in that situation. God forbid you won't, but you could, like I did. And you'll suddenly think, wow, this whole world opens up that you didn't know of. And so, anyway, to get back to Cuppa4Care, I believe in divide and conquer. None of us can do anything all on our own, and so we say, right, I'm going to raise funds, I'm going to have a tea party, you're going to be my hostess, and you're going to be my hostess, and you're going to bring all your friends, and they're going to pay us some money, and we're going to give it all to Iris House. And anybody can do it, as you said. In any situation, you know your circumstances. Oftentimes we want to help people, but we don't have the funds, we don't have the means. And we think we can't do anything because we're living on the breadline ourselves. But you can. Because you could ask your friends, if you're living in a very prominent area and you have a very high paying job, you could sell tickets for 500 Rand if you wanted to. You have 10 friends around, or you could ask your friends to bring 20 Rand along. And it doesn't matter. You're doing what you can to help other people who need it.
Wonderful. Do you think as a whole in South Africa we're doing enough to support parents of special needs children?
No.
What more can be done? Or how can we get involved?
There needs to be more awareness of special needs children. There needs to be more support for moms like Sheila, for families like Sheila's. Iris House doesn't charge for our services whatsoever. All our services are free. And I believe we are the only MPOs doing that type of work for free. And it's an issue for special needs parents. They don't have the budget to pay for therapists, etc. We need to, as a country, acknowledge that these children are not just going to disappear, and that we need to do something to assist them.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.